I'm not someone who's going to like talk a lot about that, but I will tell you my relationship with him was very different than Christine and his. I never knew till later on that they were really struggling, but he and I never had any problem in that area. We were both very physically, like, yeah, we were great.
I'm gonna be very honest with you. When you lay down with somebody,
Yeah.
right, and it's just completely just two people, it's as raw as it can be. It's the connection, it's the emotional connection, the physical connection, and the spiritual connection that happens.
Yeah.
You know you have it with her.
Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Friday, April 19th, 2024, and I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. I did a video yesterday where I shared with you a clip from TLC UK's version of the tell-all for Sister Wives. And in that video, a lot of you that are from Europe, I had no idea so many of you from Europe, the UK, Australia, wherever you are outside of the United States, watch the show through the UK version of TLC. So I had no idea that you guys were seeing things that we weren't seeing. Now, obviously, what I shared wasn't groundbreaking, but it was literally the first time I heard Robyn make an admission where she acknowledged that she knew something where she had previously, in the edited versions that we saw, had been denying it. We all knew that Robyn was the favorite wife, and we all knew that Robyn knew that she was the favorite wife, but Robyn never admits it. And I found some more clips from TLC UK, and this is actually from the same tell-all, and it has to do with Kody and Janelle's relationship, and Kody diving into really why he doesn't trust Janelle. But what is interesting is that in the United States version of Sister Wives, they literally never talk about their sex life. They never go into the intimate components of their marriages, and they always say that it's off limits. And TLC literally never mentions this at all on the show, and it has nothing to do with censoring or censorship or content, because other shows on TLC in the same time period are highly charged in this area and do not shy away from talking about it. It's just that the Browns on TLC in the United States, they always sanitize it down and make it seem like it's not about sex, because the agenda of the show was to make it seem like polygamy was not about men just acquiring women for the purposes of sex. And in the United States, that is the overwhelming stigma when it comes to Mormon fundamentalism, when it comes to polygamy. And when the show started, there were multiple arrests of polygamous men. You had Warren Jeffs, who was a fundamentalist Mormon, and then you had Tony Alamo, who was a Christian, that both were arrested in the mid-2000s. Tony's arrest came in 2008. Warren Jeffs was many of his trials were going on in the very early seasons of Sister Wives. And these polygamists did not want to be associated with child brides. They wanted to make it seem like it's not about that. It's not about having intimate relations. It's about love. So the US version, we never hear them talk about sex. So when Suki is actually like probing him and Janelle about their sex lives, I was like, whoa, we've never even heard Kody say like the word sex really. And Kody also admits really the reason why he doesn't like Janelle and Christine being friends in language that's far more direct than what we get in our version of the show. And I was thinking about this because I got an email from someone that apparently I think is in the UK, and they really wanted me to share that I'm missing something and I haven't analyzed something correctly. So I just want to read you the email from Paula. And she said, "You're doing an incredible job at analyzing the ins and outs of Sister Wives, except one thing. One thing I think you should emphasize more is one of the main reasons we viewers are so disgusted with Robyn. It's the fact that day after day, year after year, Robyn never sent Kody back to their home when she would show up on their time. The fact that she never did that and instead let him spend stolen days with her completely negates her laments about wanting sister wives and wanting him to have good relationships with the other wives. If what she said she wanted was true, she would have told him to get out. It's not fair. You need to go spend that wife's day with that wife. We see so clearly through the lies. In fact, it's insulting to us viewers that she thinks we buy that hogwash. Does she think we're really all idiots? Another point would be the money distribution. She darn well knew she was getting the lion's share of the money for her home, her paintings, and all of her other shopping. It blows my mind that the other wives didn't scream bloody murder about that. I sure would, and would have been on top of the accounting books constantly to prove my point. There is nothing better to prove favoring one wife over the others than black and white numbers, aka green dollar signs. Once again, Kody, awesome job on your videos and analysis. Well, Paula, thank you so much for this amazing, insightful email. And I just want to state that I'm pretty confident I have covered the fact that Robyn was not equitable in her time, nor was she fair in not hoarding the time that she had with Kody. I've also talked a lot about the issues with the money. So when it comes to the money issues, the breakdown in the family actually came down to, for Janelle, one of the reasons she got so over things with Kody was about the money. Because when she was trying to get building for her place on Coyote Pass, which has never happened, she was looking over the books and found out that the couple was spending money frivolously on stuff that literally they didn't need. And had the family been saving the money that they should have been saving, they could have paid off the property and gotten started on building. But instead, Kody and Robyn were using the family bank account or bank pool of money as their own, and they weren't considering the needs of anyone else. And apparently, I've spoken to a couple people with knowledge of what happened, and they did confront Kody about this, and that actually ended up being a huge blowout between Kody and Robyn, because Robyn apparently then threatened that she would leave if, he wanted to fight with her about money. She'll leave and take everything that he has, and she told him, you can just go be with your other wives then. So she did know that she was taking all the money, and when confronted, she got hostile with Kody, and then Kody retreated and basically took Robyn's side, because Kody was also spending the money. It wasn't just Robyn spending the money. Anyways, so I appreciate all of that, and I do agree that if she would have been fair, she would have been equitable with the time and sent Kody's packing back to their homes, which she never did. There's a lot of ways that we know that she was the favorite wife. Now, on to this clip. Janelle and Kody briefly discussed their sex life and on the tell-all in the US version, but the UK version, which this comes from the TLC UK YouTube channel, Suki probes them further and Kody goes in deeper, and it's actually interesting.
When you lay down with somebody, right, and it's just completely just two people, it's as raw as it can be. It's the connection. It's the emotional connection, physical connection, and the spiritual connection that happens. You know you have it with her, right?
No.
You don't.
No, we wouldn't have been there if we would have had it.
Yeah, but maybe that's what you need to get back to kind of patch those things back together.
Sure, yeah.
Why don't you allow each other into each other's beds and make up?
Ask her. I don't know the answer to that.
After hearing all of the drama between Janelle and Kody about their relationship and all of the tension and the issues they were having in their relationship, Suki's response is to encourage Kody to go have sex with Janelle and get in bed with her and make up. Like, go have makeup sex. Go get in your spiritual connection. Go do it. As though getting it on is going to change the fact that he has been neglecting her for years and giving preferential treatment to Robyn and neglecting her kids and stealing from her financially and, all of the things. Being a argumentative, hostile dictator that was telling her that she needed to be loyal, just trying to push her around and make her punch her down basically into submission. I mean, those were her words. I think she said he wanted to tap her into submission, and she just wasn't going to do that. Suki's, I think, the kind of woman that takes the guy's side all the time. But the fact that she is probing him and is like, why don't you just get into bed with her? And he's just like, yeah, I don't know. And then he goes further.
There's going to have to be, there would need to be trust reestablished.
So you're saying without trust, you can't have intimacy?
You can have sex without trust. You can't have real intimacy without trust. There's no doubt that, through a lot of communication and patience and forgiving, that we can build trust again. Oh yeah, but that's what it has to be, is it have to be trust. And right now, there's no doubt in my mind that she trusts Christine more than she trusts me.
I love how Kody says that you have to have trust in order to have intimacy, when it's pretty clear that he hasn't trusted any of these women for years. And it's also very clear that he doesn't really trust anyone, period. And I don't know that any of them have ever really trusted each other. But what I also find strange is that she's trying to push Kody into bed with a woman that doesn't want to have sex with him. Like, Janelle is the one that ended the relationship. Janelle's the one that said that she wanted to be separated from him because of his behavior. And Suki's response is, well, fix it by getting into the bedroom with him since you guys have such a great sex life. If sex was the answer to fix the problems, every problem would be fixed by sex. It doesn't fix anything. And then Kody's like, yes, we would have to communicate and we'd have to build trust. And she doesn't trust me. And of course she doesn't trust him, because he's stolen money from her. He has proven that he will lie, deceive, and discredit her, that he will pick other children over hers, that he will leave her without a home and give all of the money to his one wife, Robyn. Like, it's wild to me that she would even push this, and then for him to even entertain it is even stranger. But regardless, I don't believe that Kody needs trust to have sex, because Kody probably has sex with a lot of women, not just the women on that he claims to be married to or purports to be married to. He continues.
So here's the thing. When you're in a loving marriage, you'll do things in the marriage that could be considered deal breakers. And then you'll look at each other and I'm sorry and I love you, and you'll make up and you'll move on. But the minute you break up, so Christine says, I'm out, I'm leaving. Then now anything in the past that might have been forgiven is something now that you expose. You know what I'm saying? She's joined Christine in sort of this exposure. They're just as guilty.
The truth finally comes out. The reason why he is so mad at Christine and Janelle isn't about the trash talking, isn't about the saying things about him that are unfavorable. It's that he did things to them that were deal breakers in their marriages, meaning he committed offenses against them that were so significant that these women would have left him had they not been in a committed relationship and agreed to forgive him because they were in a committed relationship. Meaning for years and years and years, Kody was able to get away with really, really, really bad behavior, and they would just forgive him. And now that they have finally left him and they don't want to put up with his crap anymore, they're telling the truth about what they experienced while they were with him. And he's calling that being exposed. In truth, they might have just agreed at the time to forgive him because either they felt like they needed to just do it to keep things calm in their lives. They may have felt like they had no other recourse. They could have felt like if they didn't forgive him, they would be stuck with kids to raise and they didn't have any resources. Things that could have happened prior to the show when they all were like living basically hand to mouth and didn't have money. The women weren't in a position to really forgive and move on and dump him. They were also very much more sheltered and indoctrinated. So he's admitting, I did things to these women that were unforgivable, but they forgave me because we were in a committed relationship, which I agree there are things that happen in marriages that sometimes spouses will forgive one another for that would generally be deal breakers, but not often. I don't know a lot of my friends personally that will let go of things if a husband does something that is so atrocious that's a deal breaker. And a lot of times deal breakers are significant infractions. It's not minor at all. A significant deal breaker could be stealing money, cheating. It could be lying. It could be hurting someone. It could be physical violence. It could be neglect. It could be a variety of things. It could be all kinds of abuse. And now he's mad that they are connected because he believes that they're going to expose him. And then he has to flip it and say, well, they're not innocent either, which is disgusting. So he's basically admitting that he did things that were essentially should have been unforgivable, and that there are things he's done to them that will be exposed. And that's ultimately why he can't trust them, and that's why he doesn't want them together, because he knows that they can ruin him. And nothing scares him more than poverty and his image being destroyed.
I mean, it goes both ways here.
But you're saying the role that she wants you to play, or she's comfortable with, you don't want to play anymore.
Which
is one of the boy toy, that you can't be your real authentic self, the humanity part of you.
I want to be able to be vulnerable a little bit. And I don't want to have to sit here and sort of constantly have to maintain this stoic disposition about how I'm the head of the family and stuff like that. Because it's a balance, and the respect hasn't been there for that.
So basically he is saying that because she has been disobedient and not allowing him to boss her around and tell her what to do, and because she defiantly makes her own choices and is independent and doesn't let him steamroll her and dictate how she manages her life, and because she won't submit to his ridiculous demands and settle for scraps, then he won't, he doesn't trust her, and he doesn't have respect for her because she's not respecting him, controlling her. Did you get that? She's not respecting him as the patriarch. And as long as she's not respecting him as the patriarch, then he doesn't want to be with her, which is ridiculous because he wants to be with her. He does. By the way, she doesn't want to be with him, and she dumped him, because she doesn't want to put up with his bullcrap. He wants her to be able to just sit down, shut up, take it, and then he can open up to her. So basically, just fawn all over me, be my special assistant or my adorable assistant or whatever he calls them, and cater to my every woman need. Do not argue, do not fight back, keep sweet, and then maybe we can talk about having, a more complete relationship. Discard and ignore all the stuff I'm not doing for you. Don't compare. Just ignore the fact that all of this is going on. Ignore the fact that all of the money was spent on other things, and ignore. Submit, obey. And she's been clear she's not going to do that. And he's been clear he doesn't want to not do that. So it seems like it's going to move on. He's more focused on having control of his family and being in control and being the one to control everything. And now that he is out of control, he has lost it. That's why he lost his family. And he's losing his mind as he's losing control, because when a narcissist loses control, they get very unstable and very unpredictable. And he is raging out in narcissistic rage these days because the women have the control and he is terrified of them exposing what he's done. And I'm sure those ladies know where the bones are buried. I mean, this is a man that hasn't hidden the fact of different businesses he's been involved in that haven't been above board. He has also been accused by kids of abuse. You just don't know what's in this family that they haven't shared and what they were having to hide for him for this scam of a show to work. But he's just gaslighting and acting like she's the one that did something wrong when she didn't do anything wrong. He wants her to act submissive, and she shouldn't have to, and she doesn't have to. She had every right to want to leave, and she left for the right reasons. But the fact that Suki is entertaining this is just annoying to me. Even though he's talking about sex, it's just annoying. Why are you even allowing him to be the victim here?
I don't think I saw the problems, but the problems were still there. When I met Robyn, it was, like first time ever being in love. And so that changed the dynamic, I think, and that's not anybody's fault. It was a call for us to put more effort into the other relationships in my mind, but that became a grind. It was constantly prove your love and prove yourself and like kind of doing this dance constantly. And some years were good because the dance was working.
That final clip is also from the UK version of the tell-all. Each episode on TLC UK has about 2 minutes extra that we don't see in the United States. And for the most part, the episodes are the same, but they do include about 2 minutes of content that we would never see. And here he's flat out admitting the fact that I met Robyn. It was way easier. We were much more connected. I didn't have to work as hard. And then it was, well, I'm in love with her. So then I should be I'm called to try to make the other relationships work better. I mean, part of this is their cult, and their cult tells them that they have made a covenant. But at the same time, in this cult, most women don't get what they need. Most of them don't get what they want. And the difference here is that he had to pretend better because he was on television. In the real world, all of these same scenarios would play out, and the women wouldn't have the voice or the opportunity to share their displeasures or their struggles. They would just have to put up with it. In here, what he had to face was the women had a vehicle to share their grievances in a very public way, and they were able to disclose how they were feeling in a very public way that he could not ignore, which held him accountable. He is deflecting and saying that he had to spend all of this time trying to prove himself, and that it's really nobody's fault, that he fell in love with Robyn. It's, we all should have done better. It is actually his fault. Let's be frank. He had enough wives. He had the 3 wives he needed to get into the celestial kingdom. He did not need to take a 4th wife. He did not need to find and chase tail, but he did. It is his fault for meeting someone new and deciding to leave the family and deciding to wreck the family because he wanted a way out. And he incidentally chose a woman that had never lived polygamy. She grew up in the world of polygamy, but never lived as a married woman in polygamy, and would constantly counsel him on living monogamy and would counsel him about what monogamists would do in any given situation. And the fact that he had a wife that was constantly teaching him about monogamy when he had never lived monogamy, I'm sure influenced him to want to live monogamy because he learned it was easier, right? And he wanted to just not be in polygamy anymore, or he else wanted the women to just shut up and just take it again. And I'll prove to you that she counsels him on monogamy with this clip that, again, is from the UK version of Sister Wives.
I feel like there's an unfairness in plural marriage, where if a husband is having a problem with one wife, he's going to somebody else's house. That wife he's having a problem with is alone. She doesn't have somebody else. And I feel like it's a little bit of a unfair luxury for a husband in plural marriage, that if he's having a problem, like normally what would happen in a monogamous marriage is they would sit in that space and they would figure it out.
This was during the episode that Kody finds out that Christine had moved him out, and she was trying to encourage him to go back to the house to actually have a conversation with her and speak to her about what the problems are and work through the issues. And he's refusing to go there. He doesn't want to spend the night there. He's not listening to a thing she says. He tells the audience that he goes to Robyn for relationship advice often. So she's counseling him when she's as counselor Robyn and giving him advice and using her psychology, and she'll actually lean forward and you can tell how into this and good she thinks she is at this. But she's not wrong that in a relationship where it's one-on-one, you are not allowed to just run away. You have to deal with the problems. And Kody has the luxury of running away from a problem and not having to resolve anything. Therefore, he can get away from a woman, go to the wife that he wants to be with that's easier, and then the problems fester and he doesn't have to resolve them. And then he can use things like against the woman to make her feel like the only way that they can resolve things is if she lets it go and forgives him, right? The unforgivables, the deal breakers. And she's saying that this is actually an unfair part of polygamy, right? A guy can just do whatever and then the woman is just left alone. And she knows this. And yet frequently over the years, as the sweet woman that emailed me said, she didn't send him back. She just let him stay at her house. But again, Kody will do what Kody wants.
Or not, whatever it is. It's tough because if you're both in that space where there's a problem, you're going to fix it more and faster, and it's going to be in the front of your brain, and you're not going to have relief from it, and it's like it should be more fair, and so I'm like going, well, other monogamous marriages, they don't get to go to another wife's house, and she's obviously having an issue, so like be in that issue.
I want to remind people that in a recent tell-all, I don't know if it was this season or last season, she was confronted about Kody running away from problems, not allowing them to finish what they're talking about because he runs off and goes to the next place. And she's said that she doesn't allow him to do that to her. But here she is basically admitting that he does this to his wives and he does this to all of them. And when he doesn't want to fix something, he just runs away. And she is telling him that that's not fair. And in the part, this is way too late because this is after Christine has already kicked him out, after years of neglect, after years of not getting treated well, after years of being ignored, discounted, mistreated. And now she's like telling him to go run there. Where was Robyn for, 10 years when he was always at her house telling him to go fix things? But regardless, she's acknowledging that she knows that Kody runs away from his problems, and she also acknowledges that it's not fair. And when Kody said that he became disenchanted with plural marriage, it was because one of his wives kept telling him about how unfair it was. So really, Robyn didn't want to be a polygamist. She didn't want to be a plural wife because she knows it's unfair, because she was irritated that she couldn't actually resolve her problems with him. Now, I just want to be clear. If this is the kind of advice he's getting from her, it's not horrible advice, but she really leaned into this and believes that she knows what she's talking about and acts like she's the authority about relationships, which tells me that she truly believes that she can fix people, meaning she's probably convinced Kody that she can fix him and fix his problems, meaning he likely relied on her for a lot of his relationship advice, which means she was indirectly making him realize how bad plural marriage was. So she's constantly telling him about the benefits of monogamy and while telling him about the bad attributes of polygamy, which further proves what Christine has said all along, is that she didn't want to live plural marriage. Roundabout way of getting there. But anyways, ultimately what it comes down to is Kody is terrified of Janelle and Christine teaming up against him and exposing what he's done. And he's got to paint them as bad people so that people don't trust what they say about him, and he's going to do everything he can to try to stop them from exposing him. We've never heard him say expose, right? We've heard him say cloak of charity. Well, now we understand that they have information about him that would ruin him, and he doesn't want that out. I don't know what that information is. I don't know what it is about. And we also know that Robyn was counseling him that plural marriage was bad. Both of these tidbits come from TLC in the UK, which we don't get to see on our regular TLC Sister Wives show. So that's all I have for today. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure to leave a comment about what your thoughts are. I'm getting really, really close now to 370,000 subscribers. A bunch of you hit that subscribe button yesterday. I'd love to get there soon. Make sure to hit that button on the way out. Make sure to click the notifications and click to all so that you always know when a new video is up and running. And if you have questions, leave them in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.